와플 뭐 데뷔전 뭐 이런.
That's what makes information so powerful. You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about just following the ritual work. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I was like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgender was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things were becoming popular in the future. And that somehow people to go would be realized over she being always the most popular record.
God damn, we got some good weed, cat. Jeez.
This must be the week.
I'm trying to figure out how to jump in on that. I always wonder whether or not all the stories in the Bible, it's just where we are experiencing it. Like the mark of the beast thing that we were talking about earlier. If that is not, I think if you had to tell a story for so many years,
Yeah.
before anybody ever even figured out how to write it down, and you're telling a story about a civilization that allowed people to put brain implants in them, then all of a sudden the brain implants were hijacked by machines, and people became just meat zombies, controlled by corporations. That would be the mark of the beast. That would be a demonic thing. If a demon tricked human beings into wearing a hat that turned you into a zombie, that demon would be like a famous character in books and folklore. but that demon exists, and it's just technology. It just shows itself through this desire for the newest, latest innovations that are going to constantly fuel it becoming more and more powerful. And one day it tricks you into letting it into its head, like a vampire. Like the vampire stories, you had to let them in, remember? That was the thing. You had to invite them in. And if you invited them in, you're fucked. But if you didn't invite them in, for some reason they weren't allowed to kill you. It's almost like this story.
That you have to be able to benefit from the zombie. Like, there's no benefit in that taken out of context. Like, if you're making zombies so that they can mine for you, then there's a story of that over there. Like, that's the whole thing, is when you look at these ancient writings, they're not saying like, yeah, so he was from another world, and we had to bring him our kids, and he would eat them in front of us. Like, they're not telling those stories. They're saying like agriculture, and
knowledge,
literature, and
cosmology.
Right.
Explain the origin of life. Yeah.
Like,
show the double helix DNA.
To a fault.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying anything outside of mathematic parameters.
Well, the wildest stuff is when you look at some of those old Sumerian tablets and you see how they had the solar system mapped out. They had the sun in the center, looked just like a sun with little marks around it. It had Venus where it should be, Jupiter where it should be, Uranus where it should be. They were all in the right spots. It's crazy. Like,
the Ethiopian tribe had the
Dogons.
same. That's what I'm saying. Like, no,
crazy.
It's not. Yeah, but there is no craziness. Everything lines up. The same grid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the conventional explanation for that is, because that Zechariah Sitchin guy who said all this stuff, he was often criticized. That people said that he took things too far, and his analysis went too far, and he just went into speculation. But god damn, a lot of the stuff that he was saying, like, you could see the implication in the actual tablets themselves. They show these gigantic beings with these little tiny people like sitting on their laps, and the people have tails. Have you seen those? It looks like genetic engineering.
Maybe it's a tail, maybe it's piping. What?
Jesus, right. Piping.
You understand what I'm?
Oh yeah.
What I'm saying is nobody's telling these outlandish.
Right. But they're all kind of all saying the same thing. There's some higher power that comes and gives you structure, tells you what to do and how to live. And every society.
Information. That's what
that's
they
it.
give.
They give you information. Yeah.
Every story, every civilization,
Yep.
every time.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. And that's what we're all thirsty for. You know? And what
Well,
people
we're
aren't.
thirsty to monetize.
That's too. But also humans individually are thirsty for information. We always want information. We want gossip, we want news, we want bullshit, we want science. Especially if you have an appetite for, things that make you think. There's so much information that you're just constantly consuming. This bullshit information like TikTok and nonsense that just passes you by. But there's still...
Yeah, but none of that stuff is nonsense.
Well, it's not all nonsense, but it is.
It's just another
something
offshoot.
to get your attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what all of this is about. From the Roman Colosseum
Yep.
to it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The Roman
King
Colosseum's
Arthur's court time, like
that's the first viral videos, right? Like that's,
right. Like
They would tell viral stories.
yeah, this is all about this experience of being a human being in this amount of time.
Yeah.
The interaction between other people and this thing you're doing.
Yeah. And in the middle of you doing it, you realize you only have a certain amount of time. You're like, God damn it, I'm finally starting to figure this game out.
So I thought at like that age, I was thinking, okay, so I don't know how long I'm going to live, because I'm kind of conflicted about how long people live. 100's a good number, but there's been people at 600. I don't know, like, things like that. But I'm just going to space it out 7 years at a time. So every 7 years, that's going to be a life, so I don't waste anything. So I couldn't wait till I got 7, because that was going to be the start of my first life.
Why'd you break it into 7s? Just randomly?
I don't know what randomly means. It's a seldom seen thing in the universe. Random.
So just 7 seemed like a good number? Was it instinctual, or was it
To people around the globe.
7? Yeah.
It's a great
It's a lucky number. That's why I asked.
Yeah, well, I'm saying not for no reason. I'm saying if you like math, you know, I'm saying it's a great number. That's how you know that the pyramids are about something, because of what they represent mathematically. That level of mathematical information is another step in civilization.
Yeah, the idea that was just by accident, like there's-
Trigonometry is not by
Yeah.
accident.
Also that they figured out, like, there's some measurements. I don't want to bore anybody with the details because I'll butcher it too. But it's the measurements of the height and width and the mass of the pyramid in comparison to the circumference of Earth. It's like they knew so much about like where constellations would be at certain times of the year, like in the summer solstice. It's just wild shit, man. That they did that all in stone.
But not that wild though, because we know that if you were traveling, then buoys are out there, and they're out there for certain reasons. And
Right.
we understand satellite positioning, and no, it makes perfect sense.
Imagine that's the pyramids were. That was the ultimate buoy. That was home base.
Well, I'm saying it's not different than how we would treat a planet that we had not been to before.
No, not at all. Not different at all. I mean,
We would locate where's the best place to land, where is the most hospitable of this place, and we would put something there.
And let's imagine that we landed somewhere and we found this lush, green, vibrant planet, and we found those hobbit people. And those are the most advanced people. Those Homo floresiensis, is that what it is? Floresiensis? So this creature, this 3-foot tall human, imagine if we found them. I guarantee you someone would want to introduce them to tools, introduce them to how to make fire, introduce them to figure out language, try to transfer their language to our language, try to teach them our stuff, try to genetically engineer them and turn them into something different. If we have the tools that we have now, like CRISPR, and we found some primitive apes, and there was like a massive population of Australopithecus on a planet, and we said, look, they're on the way.
Right.
Let's just give them a little boost. Just give them a little boost. And that's what
But not too much.
Not too much.
And that's what you see with all of the UFO stories is they keep popping up in these times where we as a civilization are getting ready to F it up in real time.
In real time. Yeah. You know, that's like my comedy club. That's why I named
The mothership.
rooms. I named the rooms Fat Man and Little Boy.
Oh.
Because the UFO started coming after the big bombs. That's when they really started like ramping up their presence. Like if you look at all the reports, the flying saucer reports, they're like 1947, 1950, 1952.
If you cross-engineer our shit, it's going to show up on our radar. This information.
Especially when we're using that information very recklessly. Wild.
Even in the Bible
cities.
story, the Tower of... This story is that, you know, with everybody speaking the same language, good. And they could do stuff that was hazardous.
I think they're very close to being able to translate language instantaneously in real time. Because they can do it right now with Samsung phones. They have the new Galaxy S24.
Animals are doing it worldwide.
Oh, for sure. They have some sort of language. They have some sort of a communication. There's something going on with animals that's nonverbal.
And with all of us.
You know Tom Green? You know Tom Green, right? Yeah. Tom Green was here. He has a movie, and he said that you have like a connection with that animal where you know you want to go left, and you start like looking left, and that thing starts going left. He goes, it's really crazy. It's spooky. He goes, you develop it. It takes time. They have to earn your respect. But once you develop this like loving relationship with this animal, you're tuned into it like an avatar creature. Just like when they would lock on to their dragons. He's like, dude, it's like that.
I have that with women and with ducks and geese and Canadian geese and goats. Like I have. No, but understand, again, that's part of some religion's story. Is that one of the gifts was the relationship between humans and the animal world. And it's something that all civilizations have been able to do, and they stay true.
Yeah. It's amazing the relationship humans have with animals.
Yeah. Whether it's a horse, no, there's no especially. Like, all of them. We abuse some of them, and it.
Well, just horses don't interact with humans. It's like the interaction you have with dogs is almost like psychic. Like the dogs are like your little friends. They know when you're in a bad mood. They know when you hurt your foot. When they're happy to see you every fucking time, bar none.
I have that relationship with everybody. All animals and like special needs. It's the innocence and the purity that you get. It's not always good, but it's so.
We can learn from them.
No, we have learned.
Yeah, we should know it, but we're scared. People are scared of other people being shitty. Put up like shields. Worry about them.
Well, it's been proven historically that Cain and Abel is a real story. That like, you know what I mean? Like people are so violent these days, and that's true. But people have been violent. Like there was this point where humankind learned that they could take a life and change things.
Especially take a life. What do you think the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is about? Because I was just reading that last night. Cleanliness? Yeah. That's what took them out? That like plague? Because the
69 times I've gotten canceled in this one conversation.
No, the stories of Sodom and Gomorrah, there's two speculations.
Right.
One of them was that God decided that they weren't hospitable enough. And the other one was God had decided that there was too much sin.
Wait a minute, that's not speculation, that's in the book.
Right.
That verse.
Right, but the respectability part, that they were not hospitable enough.
Yeah, that was a part of it.
That's part of it too. So God just decided that fuck this whole city.
No.
Right. What's the real story?
Okay, so
turned it into pillars of salt. 2 cities, right? And he said, "Find me 50 good men, and I won't do this." And then I think he said, "Find me 10 good men."
Okay, so this story is generally used to say that God doesn't like homosexuals. This is a story that highlights that.
Okay, so it's not just sin. It's not just because sodomy is even technically like oral sex.
The meaning of that word comes from sodomy.
Right.
So
that's why I said it's technically includes a lot
I would love that.
Okay, let's take it. So,
Yeah, so it tells several stories, but there had to be an explanation for what the story said happened to two cities.
right. There had to be a reason to tell that story. Most likely.
To tell this story, it requires all of those people to really have been killed in those circumstances. And the historical evidence shows us something like that happened. Like, those two cities really did exist.
Do we know where Sodom and Gomorrah was?
Are you kidding? I know a guy who would pull that information up so fast.
Really?
Put it on the screen.
Young Jamie? Oh, is there speculation?
His
as to what part-
sidekick is awake now. That's part of him, but Carl wakes up.
Carl's awake now.
Yeah.
3:30, wake up.
Right. As we all would be if we were in charge of our schedules.
Yeah, probably. What do they think that it... Like, is there real speculation as to where it was?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they think it
It's
was?
not speculation. A lot of these places just changed names. Like,
Right.
they used to be called this, and
Right.
then they later were called something
Sure.
else. But
Like, Iraq used to be Sumer.
right,
Yeah.
like these are literal places
Yeah.
that you can find on the real map. That was a part of that biblical rabbit hole I was telling you about. It's just seeing my only concern is, how do these ancient Islamic, Judaic, how do you say that? Those three that, that all religions So you see they have question marks here, right? Because they know that there were cities there.
So they have wreckage there.
Like, for example, if everybody in Gaza talks about going there, it exists. If everybody in Hebron has family members that live there, it exists. If everybody, we know that.
So they think that was right near the Dead Sea. Wow.
Well, they didn't think it any differently than they thought Tal Hammam, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Like, these were places, like, people throughout history